This land is enchanted. At least that's what the Cherokee Indians thought when they settled just north of the Chattahoochee. It was also enchanting for Roswell King, for whom the town is named. In 1828, King hoped that Cherokee trails would lead to undiscovered gold, like the veins that ran through Dahlonega, just 47 miles to the north. But unlike Rumpelstiltskin, it wasn't straw that he'd spin into gold. Cotton turned out to be just as precious. Soon, a mill powered by the waters of Vickery Creek gave birth to a community that today is a northern suburb of the city of Atlanta. It is on this land that a battle will arise tonight in the home of the Centennial Knights, who stand armed with achievements, including the Governor's Honors Program and the All-State Band, Orchestra, and Chorus members. Tonight, the Etowah Eagles will flock to Centennial, draping the bleachers with their colors of blue and gold. A coincidental yet intimidating reminder of their academic credentials, the prestigious Blue Ribbon School Award and the Gold Award from the Governor's Office. Named after the Atlanta Olympic Games of 1996, the Centennial Knights are hoping to bring home the gold. That is, unless the Etowah Eagles swoop in to steal the win for their nest in Woodstock. Two fast-growing towns with historic ties to cotton. But today, only one will spin their dreams into gold. Tonight, it's the Etowah Eagles versus the Centennial Knights on Football Fridays in Georgia.
JPB's live and exclusive coverage of Football Fridays comes to the Fortress on the campus of Centennial High School as the Knights take on the Eagles from Etowah and Cherokee County. We say good evening to you and yours. Gil Tyree along with Trey McDaniel, and two teams tonight, Trey, that are trying to get that first win of the season. Let's start out with the Etowah Eagles.
Yeah, Etowah's trying to get their first win of the season. They've got a brand new coach in Dave Spala, although it's still going to be a hard-nosed team for them, but they're going to look to their senior quarterback, a big guy, 6'3", 210 pounds, Reeves Johnson. This kid threw for 164 yards last week. He missed 8 games last year, Gil, and he's back for the full season this year. He's looking to do great things. If they're going to get a W tonight, it's going to fall on his shoulders. On the defensive side of the ball for Etowah, they're going to look for their junior cornerback, Ben Rowell. Rowell is a 2-year starter despite being just a junior, and this is a very talented kid, Gil. 6 interceptions last year. He led the county.
And, of course, the Centennial Knights, who will be the host team tonight. It's a blackout here at the Fortress coming off the tough loss at Roswell, but coached by Jeff Carlberg, who was a fix-it man, did it at Alpharetta, and hopefully he can do the same here.
He's got his work cut out for him. He's bringing in the spread attack. They used to run an option. It's Greek to these guys, and they're little by little picking up on it, but they've got a real talented guy in the backfield by the name of Cyril Teal. The young man ran for 126 yards last week, and by the way, second week in a row we get to see a 100-meter sprinter in the backfield. Last week it was Taj Griffin. This week it's Cyril Teal. On the defensive side for Centennial, they've got a lot of work to do. They're going to look to their middle linebacker, Ryan Bennett. Ryan Bennett moves from outside linebacker to inside linebacker this year. He's also a 2-year starter. Coach is looking for a lot of leadership out of this guy because they're playing a lot of sophomores and a lot of juniors for Centennial.
Okay, the stage is set now. Let's go downstairs to the third member of our crew here tonight, John Nelson. Nelly, it's all yours.
Good evening, GT, to you and Trey. Let's talk about pedigrees with the two coaches. Let's start off with the visitors and Coach Savela. You talk about a guy who was born and bred in Nebraska, started in Nebraska, and loves Nebraska football, believing in the head coach, Tom Osborne, and his offensive line coach. And you talk about a great pedigree there. The only thing the offensive line did in the first 20 years of Dr. Tom's pedigree, 17 All-Americans. Now to the flip side in the home team, and Coach Carlberg goes all the way back to his time as a GA with Coach Snellenberger at Louisville. And believe it or not, Bob Spire, when their paths crossed in Lexington, Kentucky, about organization and how to build a program. And send it back up to you guys upstairs.
All right, Nelly, thank you. And Hopper will be kicking off to Teal and Austin, who are deep for the Centennial Knights. And everybody is pumped up here. It is the blackout in full effect. And we're glad to have you with us here on GPB. And we are underway. And it sails in the back of the end zone, so the Knights will take over. First and 10 at their own 20. And Trey, let's set the scene tonight. And like I said, two winless teams who are hungry for victory here on a Friday night.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the keys to success brought to you by Johnny's Pizza. First for Centennial, Gil, they've got to focus on the details. The whole team's learning on the fly a little bit because of the new offense. They really need to improve upon that, and they've got to prove it to themselves. After losing and with this new offense, they desperately need confidence, and they've got to prove to themselves that this system really will work.
And take a look at the Etowah Eagles. What do they have to do here?
They got to do what they do, Gil. They've got to be physical and run the football. That's the personality of their coach, and that has to be their personality, and they got to be sharp out of the gate. Their new coach said that they sleepwalked a little bit last week in the first half of their game against Lambert.
All right, first and 10. Chase Rosenberg out of the spread, and the give is, and turning around the corner, that's Teal, who gets over the 25 up to around the 26-yard line. And let's take a look at the offense for the Centennial Knights. And as we talk about it, the two tackles, Calhoun and Yankee, whose brother played at Stanford, the sophomore, he's the best player on the offensive line. Then you take a look at the backfield. We talked about Montel Austin, one of the receive guys. Keep your eye on Patrick Inwood and the remainder of the crew right there. And we go to second and about 3 after the pickup of 7 by Teal. And that is Chase Rosenberg. And you see his numbers last week, a struggle against Roswell, but he carried the football right there and picked up a first down.
Well, Gil, this is a kid that's played in the option offense growing up all the way through the program, and now he's being asked to step in and do yeoman's work as the signal caller for a spread attack. It's a little bit foreign to him right now, but I think as the year goes on, he's going to come into his own. You know, last week we also have to remember that their receiving core, at least according to Coach Carlberg, dropped 9 passes, so his passing percentage was a little bit low, but the kid can run the ball when he gets the opportunity, and we just saw that.
And he's also a family member of all of us here at GPB. Daddy IJ is very much involved in the sports department here at GPB, and of course you see his interest right now, drawing interest from Duke and Vandy and Yale. And when talking to Coach this week, he said he would love to have Chase another year. And the screen right there to number 6, that's complete to Shaquan Hobbs, and he gets over the 45 up to about the 47. Let's take a look at the defense for Etowah tonight. They'll run out of the 4-3, and you see Chandler Steele and Dylan Jenkins. That's the front 4. And then the linebackers, Preston White and Reed Blanchard. And then the secondary, keep your eye on Aiden Bonilla, who comes back from a broken hand his first game. And our defense is brought to you by our good friends at Regions Bank. There's a pass complete by Rosenberg over the middle, and it's on the money, and the receiving end was Michael Lopez into Etowah territory at about the 34-yard line, a gain of 18.
A great job here by Rosenberg, because in this spread offense, it's all about making your reads. His read was the guy down the seam, and Michael Lopez coming off that Y position, and he delivers an accurate throw. This is building confidence here in the first drive. This is the 3rd pass completion.
Aiden Bonilla on the stop. And they give straight ahead. Unearthed under that pile right there is Surreal Teal. The much ballyhooed Surreal Teal, as Trey talked about, and gets a gain of about 2. That'll bring up a loss of 1, correct me, a loss of 1, so that'll make it 2nd and about 11 at the 38. 10-13 here in the opening period at Centennial. Rosenberg dumps it off. The pass falls incomplete, and the pass intended over there for number 4, Christian Robinson. Christian Robinson, you take a look at Jeff Carlberg, of course, the great years at Alpharetta. Cut his teeth under the great Howard Snellenberger. And also worked with Chip Lindsey at Lassiter. And also was the freshman coach of Tyron Jones.
Absolutely.
When he was at Lassiter. And cut his teeth under Bob Spire, too, in Kentucky. The man's been a lot of places. And that's Teal again, running downhill over the 35 down to about the 34. And on the stop for the Etowah Eagles, Dylan Jenkins. Also down there, Rex Steiner on the stop as well. A 5-yard gain. That'll bring up about a 4th and 5.
James Arnold, the middle linebacker for the Etowah Eagles, got up a little bit slow. He's having to check out. But, Gil, if you want to know how that spread offense is supposed to look, remember Chip Lindsey over at Laster and what he did with Hudson Mason. That's exactly what Coach Carlberg is trying to do here for Centennial. It may take a couple of years, but they already look a little bit better on offense than they did last week.
Rosenberg in the spread. The pass falls incomplete on 4th down. So Etowah, the Eagles of Cherokee County, making the journey over here, will take over. And the receiver just stopped Trey right in the middle.
Yeah, Rosenberg sets his feet. He makes the accurate read, but his wide receiver doesn't get to the proper spot on the field. And this is a lot what Coach Carlberg alluded to when we talked to him this week about having 9 drops last week.
Right.
And he attributed some of that to receivers just not knowing the ins and outs of their route running. And right there we see a great example of it.
The intended receiver was Lopez, so the Eagles take over 1st and 10 at their own 34. Scoreless here at Centennial. The Knights against the Eagles. We welcome you to Football Fridays here on GPB. You see the man in motion and the pitch. And the pitch is to Brandon Engel. He turns the corner, gets over the 40, up to about the 43. Take a look at the offense for the Etowah Eagles. And I love Fuentes and Nick Searcy and Jacob Hassan. John Nelson will chronicle his story and what a story he has. And then you take a look at the backfield. Of course, Brandon Engel and Matt Bowling. And you see Bryce Corey, and they line up there on the offense. Brought to you by our good friends at Regions Bank. 2nd and 1, a gain of about 9 at the 43. The give again out of the eye is to Brandon Engel. Let's take a look at the defense, and they run for Centennial, a 3-5-3 Trey, and Chris Calhoun, and of course Caleb Howard, and Lorenzo McWilliams, number 44. I love him. And then the linebacking core. Very impressive. One guy that jumps out is the Mike guy, Bennett. And then you look at Balogan, and Corey Grimes is a good one, and Arnold Johnson. And again, our lineup's brought to you by our good friends at Regions Bank, and there you get a look at Dave Savella. Comes in from Minnesota and many years in Nebraska. Took over for the departed Bill Stewart. And heaving it long and intended for a receiver out there was John Oliver. And it's incomplete.
And Gil, Reeves Johnson brings that passing dynamic to the team. Although this is an I formation, plow ahead, 3 yards in a cloud of dust type team, Johnson had 164 yards passing last week, and right there he had a man wide open in probably his best receiver, the junior split end, John Oliver, who had 6 catches last week. He was wide open, but obviously him and Johnson weren't on the same page, so it goes as an incompletion.
2nd and 10 at the 46. Scoreless here between Centennial and Etowah. The pitch, and turning the corner right now in open space and moving and grooving, getting down into Centennial territory as Brandon Engel, and that's good enough for a 1st down.
Yeah. This is exactly what Etowah wants to do, and a good job here by the senior corner, Arnold Johnson. He comes up and sets the corner like he's supposed to, but the Buck linebacker and the Mike linebacker are nowhere to be found, so it's a big 1st down by Brandon Engel. Although Engel only had 57 yards last week, Gil, he is the feature back in this offense. If Coach Savella has his way, he'll turn around and hand it off to Engel or pitch it, as we saw there, about 25 times a game.
Engel right now 3 carries for 25 yards. That's 1st and 10 at the 40 of the Knights of Centennial. 8:06 and counting down here in the opening quarter. That's Engel again with a hole over the 35, pushing his way forward to the 30, and we have a flag on the play. And Trey, preliminary indications are
hold.
So it looks like it's going to come back.
Tough run up inside by Brandon Engel. Remember, this kid is only 5'10", 185 pounds, but he runs much bigger than that, and it is in fact a hold, and that one will come back. Take a look at the referees. James Reese, Jerry Terrell, the umpire, Gerald Reese, Curtis Winter, Jimmy King, Mike Parker, and Gene Harrington.
An outstanding crew by the Georgia High School Association at this game here tonight. 1st and 10 at the 40, but it looks like it's going to end up a little bit longer than that thanks to the hold, and they'll try it again.
Gil, we've seen that in the first 3 games that we've covered so far this year, how penalties can kill a drive.
Take a look at it, Trey. What did you see?
The fullback just hooks number 35, the Mike linebacker, Ryan Bennett, just enough to get the holding call. And it brings back what I said was a very tough-nosed run by Engel.
Timeout on the field.
The good news is it is 1st down still after the penalty, but it's 1st and 15 now. instead of very close to another new set of downs near the 30.
We welcome you to GPB's exclusive coverage of Football Fridays. Just a reminder, next week we'll be at Robinson Stadium, where the North Gwinnett Bulldogs will take on the Blue Devils of Norcross. So we've got a great game next week, but a good one here tonight scoreless as you take a look at the sidelines of Etowah and Coach Dave Savella. And it's 1st and 15. It's 7:58 in the opening quarter. And, of course, our great producer, Steve Graham, the commander, with his outstanding crew here tonight. It's a pitch, and that is a loose and a live football. The pass was incomplete. The intended receiver out there was Stanley Logue, and that's incomplete, the sophomore.
Stanley Logue went after it kind of nonchalantly after it went past him, but everybody on Centennial knew that was a backwards pass and a live ball.
There you go.
And they ran after it. A big break there. Looked like Logue wasn't even expecting the football, so a little crossed up here in the first possession for Etowah.
Opening jitters will bring up a 2nd and 15 at the 45. 7:33 and counting down here.
Now mark back to 49-yard line with the Eagles.
The lateral, Trey, and that'll bring up a 2nd and 15. And a loss of 6. So that'd make it 2nd and 20 at the 45. Turn in the corner, that's Engel. He's over the 40. Dodges the tackler, gets down to about the Centennial 37-yard line.
And Gil Centennial looked like they wanted to come on a run blitz here, and they were in fact keying on Brandon Engel, but he just got to the edge a little bit quicker than they could get there. And watch him get down the sideline, and watch his vision here as he gets down past the 45-yard line. Nice cut to pick up extra yardage. They've picked up the penalty yardage from the past 2 plays, and now it's 3rd and manageable. Great look here as he doesn't actually follow his blocker, and he's still able to pick up the extra yards.
Patrick Reese among those on the tackle. That'll make it 3rd and 7 at the 36.
Like what I see from Brandon Engel, and then Reeves Johnson. Gil goes with the hard count and draws Centennial offside.
So you look at these two teams, and I know it's early, both lost last week, and of course, in talking to the coaches, and you look at what Etowah struggled against Lambert, got down in the hole 14-0 and couldn't get out of it. And then Centennial goes to Roswell and literally are manhandled by the Hornets, and they're trying to get back on track.
I think anytime you have a first-year coach, and we do have that at both of these schools, it's not that so much that the team is not buying into the message, but you need some good things to happen to legitimize what the coach is preaching. And right here, one of these two teams is going to get that boost tonight.
3rd and 2 at the 42 and stood up. No gain and probably a loss of 2 as Engel and a swarm of tacklers. And among them over there was Lloyd Glenn, the defensive end. Take a look at it, Trey.
Watch Lloyd Glenn get here, defensive end. He sheds a tackle, gets into the backfield, and does his job. That's the first time that Engel's been dropped for a loss. Coach Carlbuch says of his senior defensive end that he's probably the most impressive kid getting off the bus, but hasn't quite put it together on the field. Well, he put it together right there. First time we've seen Engel go for a loss, and it also brings up 4th down for Etowah.
4th and 5, and the preliminary look, they're going to go for it or try and attempt. 4th and 5, as Trey said, at the 35 for Etowah. Johnson on the count, rolls out, looking for a receiver. Throws downfield, and the pass is incomplete and knocked out of bounds. And defending on the play was Arnold Johnson, the senior, developing to a good corner. Coach talked about.
Gil, I love that play on 4th down. You're in no man's land right here at the 35-yard line, so I don't fault him for going for it. And you got a quarterback that's very athletic, so you put him out on the edge and give him the option in case he wants to tuck it and run. But very good coverage downfield, especially by Arnold Johnson, and it's a turnover on downs. We've seen both teams with 1 possession, and both teams have gone for it on 4th down in the other team's territory. No points so far.
So Centennial will take over. And we have a flag on the play, and you see the officiating crew talking about it at the 40-yard line.
Gil refers to that as caucusing.
Caucusing, right. In the political
It's a hot-button word nowadays.
That's right. It's the buzzword as we go into an election year. And we hope you enjoy GPB's coverage of the Democratic National Convention in Charlotte. And then a few weeks earlier, the Republican convention down in Tampa. Nobody does it better when it comes to election coverage than the great people at GPB. 5:52 in our opening quarter. And after the caucus, they've decided and they're going to mark it against Centennial, Trey.
And Centennial showed the ability to move the ball through the air, which is got to be a beautiful sight for Coach Karlberg, but right here is not exactly what he wants to see. You had decent field position after the 4th down stop, and now you're all the way back inside your own 20-yard line. And Gil, a team that turned the ball over last week 4 times. This is not the place on the field where you want to be. Excuse me, that they actually called. Right, excuse me, yeah, they called a penalty on Centennial.
Right, and it's an automatic first for Etowah. 1st and 10 at the 19. The give is to Engel, turning the corner, ducks in, pulls and pushes his way down inside the 10, down to about the 11. Let's go downstairs to Nelly with an explanation of what just occurred. John.
Yeah, the foul happened out of bounds, so it was a personal foul unsportsmanlike, so that gave him 15 in the first. So that was something that happened after the play had completed.
I'm glad somebody knows what happened. I sure didn't.
That'll bring a second.
That's why we got Nelly down there.
There you go, with a bird's eye view. Thumbs up to everybody. 2nd and goal at the 11. 5:14. Scoreless game here at Centennial between Etowah and the host Knights. You see the man in motion. And Johnson, the give and turning the corner and moving and grooving, and he has the end zone and he's in. That is Stanley Lowe. Touchdown. Etowah. 11 yards. Trey McDaniel.
Nice misdirection play here. Kind of out of the Paul Johnson playbook for Georgia Tech. 2 play fakes to the right. You got a guy cutting across the formation to the left, and Stanley Logue, and he does the rest on his own. Really nice touchdown run. Really like what I see out of number 23 and number 24 for the Eagles, Engel and Logue.
Ryan Hopper on for the extra point. The kick is up, and it just gets through. The touchdown by Logue will take us to the break with the score. Etowah 7, the Eagles drawing first blood. 7-0 here. We'll be right back after these important messages on GPB.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
As leaders in our communities, Georgia's locally owned and operated electric membership corporations are proud to sponsor GPB Sports and the Georgia High School Association. Georgia's electric cooperatives are committed to providing safe, affordable, and reliable electricity to our members. We are dedicated to building strong communities by helping Georgia's student athletes become the leaders of tomorrow. Georgia's electric membership corporations, lighting the way.
In 3 dramatic primetime hours on PBS, we'll meet America's top high school musical performers.
Everybody raise
It's Broadway or bust.
Sunday at 8 on GPB.
We faced the unthinkable.
The soldiers went off to war expecting this would be quick.
When the guns fell silent.
750,000 estimated dead.
The long journey to hallowed ground.
It is dreadful to see the poor soldier just thrown in a ditch.
The Civil War shows us the obligation of the living to care for the dead, to do their best to get them home.
Death and the Civil War on American Experience.
All right, back here, Etowah drawing first blood, 7-0 on a touchdown by Logue. And they lead 7-0. The 11-play, 66-yard drive, elapsed time 4:37. And Trey McDaniel, our highlight brought to you by the Technical College Systems of Georgia. The replay, you see it right there. They want to establish the run, and they're doing it.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of it. Last week they had to abandon the run because they got down by 2 touchdowns to Lambert, and that's why Reeves Johnson had 164 yards passing. But if Coach Sfila has his way, this is what he'll do all night long, because not only does it score your team points, it keeps your other team's defense on the field, and it eats up time of possession.
All right, Hopper booms it out of bounds, and it went out about at the 3-yard line. The flag in the end zone, so Looks like it'll be a touchback, and Centennial will bring it out. Let's go downstairs to John Nelson. Nelly.
We're going to go into the Wayback Machine here just a little bit. We're going to talk about Dave Savela's last job. It was all the way in El Paso Gridley High School in Class 2A in Illinois. So his wife gets a change, his life gets a change, and now he's down here in Georgia after being in Nebraska and Minnesota and Illinois. So now he's here making things happen on the campuses here in Etowah and Cherokee County. Guys, back to you.
And, of course, cut his teeth in Nebraska and Minnesota, as John talked about, a Midwestern guy. And his wife, he said he wanted to reward his wife for making the sacrifices for him, you know, and follow her. And that's exactly what happened. And, a shout-out. Coach Savela's parents are watching on gpb.org out in Nebraska. So we want to say hello to Daddy and Mommy. And turning the corner right now for Centennial and getting big yardage. Big yardage is Teal. He gets over the 40-yard line up to about the 42, and an 18-yard trip.
You can see why the black-clad faithful here at the Fortress call him the real deal Teal. Nice moves here, and then he just uses his best attribute, which is his speed. We already talked at the top about him being a 100-meter sprinter, and he was able to turn on the second gear. I expect at some point tonight we'll see that third, fourth, fifth, and possibly sixth gear as well, but a great run.
Aiden Bonilla in hot pursuit. And the pass is lofted long. The intended receiver was Robinson, and it falls incomplete. Rosenberg had Christian Robinson single coverage up to the 20, but just out of his hands. But Aiden Bonilla made the stop before on Teal, coming back after a broken hand, his first game back.
Yeah, he might be the most talented guy on defense, but he hasn't played so far this year. He's playing with a cast on his hand. He also plays split end on offense, but they need him so much on defense, and because of the cast, he'll play only on defense tonight. But keep your eye on him, number 2, and he's only a junior.
Rosenberg's numbers right now, 205 for 20 yards. He's out of the spread and looking, and has a receiver and gets nailed by the aforementioned Bonilla, and the pass was complete to Montel Austin, and he took a shot, but he is close to midfield. And that is close to a first down.
What I like so far tonight from Chase Rosenberg is he's making all the right reads, and that's got to make the coach smile after all the drops last week, to hang on to that pass despite getting upended by the guy we just talked about, Aiden Bonilla, the junior.
The ball at the 48. It's a 3rd and 2, and Rosenberg follows his big right tackle in the person of Yankee, and he got possibly one. That'll bring up 4th and short, Trey, at about the 48, close to midfield.
Yeah, 4th and very short. He needed about a half yard more, not even close enough for a measurement by the referees, and they're just going to line up and do it, no huddle.
The Knights in the hurry up, as Trey talked about, try to draw them off sides, and they do, and that's an automatic first. Good ball, you were right on it.
At the high school level, if it's 4th down and less than 5, you can bank on it being an attempt to draw you off sides and then adjust from there if you're the defense.
The hurry up.
Exactly, Gil, especially in the hurry up, because these are 16, 17-year-old kids. Their adrenaline is going. It's a big key play in the game. They're trying to get their first win of the season, and 2 guys jump into the neutral zone. And at the high school level, you don't have an opportunity to get back before they snap it. It's just a penalty.
Right, the hurry up, hard staggered count, and it gives the Knights a first down. Out of the shotgun is Rosenberg. The intended receiver over there was Austin, and it falls incomplete. Had him in Etowah territory at the 40. Right now, Etowah 3 penalties for 20 yards.
Montel Austin slips coming out of his break right there, which is why he's nowhere to be found. It would have been an accurate pass by Rosenberg, but again, coming out of his break, he slipped.
2nd and 10 at the 46. Rosenberg out of that spread, and we saw it a lot last year when Flowery Branch played Heritage at Conyers, and throw it, and the pass is complete, the spin move, and that's Lopez over the 35 down to about the Eagle 32. Another first down. Christian Robinson, correct me. Christian Robinson on the reception, not Lopez. So that's 1st and 10 at the 34.
I think someone might have talked to Christian Robinson about drops. Watch him look this ball in and make sure nothing was going to separate him from it. He made sure he had possession of that ball before he turned upfield.
3:04 in the first quarter. Again, Rosenberg has a receiver, and that pass is completed after the bobble. Shaquan Hobbs. And that's close to a first down. Or correct me, that's a loss of 2. Loss of 2, make it a 2nd and 12 at the 34.
And Gil, in a spread offense, these short passes are very much just like the running game for a team. If your team can't get yardage on these short passing games and you have to go deep all the time, you're running the risk of interception and other plays to happen. And here we see a penalty.
Rosenberg's intended pass falls incomplete, but there is a flag on the play. And all indications, preliminary indications, say it's going to be pass interference.
It looks like Michael McCauley may have made contact before the ball got there, at least in the judgment of the officials.
And of course, Michael McCauley, the senior who's drawn a lot of interest from MIT, Princeton, Harvard.
Pass interference on the Eagles.
You see Coach Cervela not happy about that. Let's take a look at what did we see, Trey.
No, he's not, and I didn't think it was pass interference either, but we see here he gets his right arm around, and I guess they're saying that that left arm was hooking him and impeded his opportunity to try to catch the ball.
Terrell Durton, the intended receiver over there, and they called a pass interference, called a PI on McCauley. That'll make it 1st and 10 in the red zone at the 20.
It's not a spot of the foul penalty at high school. It's just simply a 15-yard penalty and automatic first down. Either way, a big chunk of yardage for Centennial.
7-0 Etowah. But the Knights are driving. Out of the spread is Rosenberg, and we have a stoppage in play and whistles. 2:27 here in the opening quarter. If you just joined us, a touchdown by Logue to give Etowah a 7-0 lead. Get a look at Coach Carlberg and the Brain Trust over on the Centennial side.
And Gil, this is deja vu from their first drive. They were moving the ball. Rosenberg and company were driving down the field. They had a couple penalties, eventually put them into 4th down that they were unable to convert. And more the same on this drive. They are moving the ball, but they're shooting themselves in the foot a bit.
1st and 15 at the 25. Rosenberg looking on the flat, had his receiver out there, the intended receiver, and the pass was incomplete for Robinson, had him on the post. And nice defense being played out there by Sean McConnell.
Yeah, he had a step on him, and it wasn't a very accurate throw, but yes, good defense by Sean McConnell for sure. And now you've got 2nd and a long way to go after the penalty.
2nd and 15 at the 25, 2:22 to go here in the opening quarter. Etowah up 7-0. The pass is picked off. Rosenberg's pass is picked off and going straight ahead with it. And looks like he's going to score for a touchdown. Is in the end zone, and that is Maverick Recksteiner. Maverick Recksteiner with the pick, 72 yards.
Just blindly throws it without looking to see if there's a defender in the neighborhood, and there sure was. Recksteiner was standing right there, ready to take the pass. He was more open than Inwood was, and he took it 76 yards for the score. And like I said, rumbling, stumbling, bumming a little bit there inside the 10.
He dropped back in coverage and took it to the house. Downstairs to John Nelson with more on that famous name, the Recksteiner.
I can't help but laugh, considering I was a wrestling fan in the 80s and 90s. Just take the last name and say it slowly. Rick Steiner. It's the Steiner family, for those of you who kind of remember all that kind of stuff. So I guess we have, guys, Dogface Gremlin version 2.0, and the only thing we're missing is the dog collar and the wrestling ear protectors, right?
Got that right. But that is a football player. Trey McDaniel's shaking his head.
I am too.
John, he doesn't know. He didn't live back in that era.
I was alive back then, but I got to admit, boys, I stayed as far away from wrestling as I possibly could.
He was a little.
I knew what you were talking about.
He was a little child, Trey McDaniel, but he's grown up to be a big man. You see Maverick Rick Steiner, the pick, dropped back in coverage and took it 72 yards. And that, folks, is a football player. Number 34, an outstanding effort, and tell you, he looks like he's a little out of gas, but he wants to get in some more. But 14-0 now. The Eagles out in front of Centennial.
Getting some well-deserved congratulations from his teammates and his head coach, but also getting a little bit of a breather.
Hopper booms it back in the end zone. And the touchback, so Etowah, Resume, and Trey McDaniel, impressive?
Yeah, well, Bill Stewart did a great job here. In 2008 and 2010, they had their best seasons ever at 9-2. They've never won 10 games in a season, but they do have 3 region titles. 2 of them came in 08 and 2010. No 9-win seasons from 1977 to 2008, but Bill Stewart, like I said, did a fantastic job with this program. Savela doesn't come in here and really change things a whole lot because they were a ground and pound team before that was predicated on the running game, and they still are. Watch number 45 outside linebacker Preston White, who actually comes in there and does the stripping of this football, along with number 63 defensive end Chandler Steele, and then Johnny on the spots there, free safety Michael McCauley, who ends up coming out of the bottom of the pile with the football. You know, kudos to Chase for trying to make something happen, but it was 1-on-4 right there. 4 white jerseys against 1 black. Sometimes it's time just to try your best to go down. That's so far 2 turnovers that Chase has accounted for so far early in this football game.
That's right, the pick by, that was a touchdown, and then this. Johnson throws over on the left side. The pass intended over there on the right side was Austin Franzen.
Gil, let's
and
remember,
it's incomplete.
Excuse me. Yes. Let's remember the strategy coming into this game on defense for Etowah was, quote, to create chaos and rush the passer, and that's exactly what they did right there. They know a quarterback in the spread offense can only be successful if he's comfortable, and so far, Chase hasn't been a whole lot comfortable back there in the pocket so far tonight.
No doubt about it. The pictures don't lie. Under 40 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. Etowah up 14 and looking to drive for some more. Johnson and the give. Straight ahead and spinning around is Rashad Devison, and he gets it over the 45, about to the 46.
A very aggressive tackle by the senior defensive end, Lorenzo McWilliams here. It's a young man that transferred from Salem High School over in Covington last year, and he just throws the back to the ground with authority.
You see the clock winding down here in the opening quarter, and what a first quarter it's been for the Eagles of Etowah, hailing from Cherokee County. The Eagles are going to take a 14-0 lead as we move to the second quarter here tonight on GPB's live and exclusive coverage of Football Fridays. Gil Tyree, Trey McDaniel. It's an all blackout, but it's Etowah who's spoiling the party right now. We'll be right back after this.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
The wheels of progress haven't been very active lately. But because of business people like you, things are beginning to get rolling. And Regions is here to help, making it easier with the expertise and service to keep those wheels turning. From business loans to cash management, we want to be your partner moving forward. Let's get going together.
You have to seize any advantage you can get to build a career, even while you're still in high school. That's why the Technical College System of Georgia offers dual enrollment. You earn college and high school credit at the same time, saving you money on college tuition. It's about your future. Dual enrollment jumpstarts your college education and prepares you for work in exciting career fields. Talk to your parents, school counselor, or at TCSG College about dual enrollment, or go to tcsg.edu.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come.
The Class 2A state championship. Where are you going?
I'm going back to high school.
Your dreams come
This week on Georgia Traveler, it's Oktoberfest in the Alpine Bavarian village of Helen, where we also visit the miniature Charlemagne's Kingdom, plus a stop to check out Zoo Atlanta, then on to Augusta for the annual Ironman competition, and a visit to Tybee Island to a marshland eatery, the Crab Shack. All that and more on the next Georgia Traveler.
Sunday at 7 on GPB.
When it hit, it was just like midnight. Middle of the day was just like midnight, with no stars, just dark. Scared us to death.
Back here, and of course, Etowah with the football with a 3rd and 6 at their 45, and they lead 14-0. Johnson, marking signals, backs in an eye. You see the man in motion, the pitch, and turning the corner over the 40, midfield, and into Centennial territory. And that's Rashad Devison, close to the 40-yard line, about to the 43, but that's good enough for an Eagle first down.
Watch this block on the corner by number 12, senior Matt Bowling. That makes the run possible by Devizin. And what's happening, Gil, is the outside linebackers for Centennial are cheating up, and that's what caused Reeves Johnson to back out and check out of that play. And he went something on the outside because the linebackers are getting sucked up in the middle, and the corner is open all day long.
Gain of 14 will make it 1st and 10 at the Centennial 43, and the tackle on the play was by Nick Barton. Johnson, full house backfield, and the give is to Logue, turning the corner, stumbling and bumbling down to the 40, about to the 39.
Gil, that's the same play they scored the touchdown on down in the goal line to Logue. This time, not so much success thanks to a shoestring tackle by the defensive end. I think that's Lorenzo McWilliams that actually made the shoestring tackle. But again, had he not made that tackle, a lot of daylight, a lot of green field, artificial surface in front of Logue on that one.
A gain of 4. That'll bring up 2nd and 6 at the 39. Just opening up the second quarter, and of course at halftime, we got a lot going on. Jen Hobby, Mark Harmon, Grace Olson, and the great GPB crew. Football Fridays in the hoot here on a Friday night. 10:40. You see the man in motion. 2nd and 6 at the 39. Johnson's going to roll under pressure. Heaves it high in the air and jump ball, and it falls incomplete. The intended receiver out there was John. It looked like to be John Oliver, who used to be a quarterback, but they moved him to wide receiver. The jump ball, and you see the excellent play by the secondary out there for Centennial in the person of Arnold Johnson, who's been outstanding here tonight.
Speaking of Johnson, Reeves Johnson threw that ball off his back foot unnecessarily. He had room on the outside, but he's bootlegging to his left, and he's having to throw across his body in the middle of the field, and he wasn't able to get enough zip on it. It looked momentarily like John Oliver was going to be able to get inside position and make the play, but the corner, the senior Arnold Johnson, does a great job.
And you see why Coach Carlberg loves him a whole lot. 3rd and 6 at 39, the delayed draw, and that's Devison. It gets over the 40, close to about over the 40 down to about the 37, but he's pushed back. And that's a gain possibly of about 1, maybe 2.
Gil,
bring up a 4th down.
I like the play call. I like the draw or the delay play when it's 3rd down and long, especially when you got a defense that's cheating up the field. But it was an even better play by Arnold Johnson, who made the pass break up the play before. This time he comes up from his corner position and makes a great tackle to save a 1st down. And now Etowah's got a decision, and they're going to go for it on 4th again, Gil, just like they did on their previous possession.
All right, as Trey said, they're going for it at 4th down, 4th and 6 at the 39. Crowd on their feet here at the Fortress. Their Knights trail 14-0. And they're trying to draw them off sides. And they call a timeout. Trey McDaniel.
That time Centennial didn't fall for it. When they tried that before on 4th down and 5, 2 different defensive linemen jumped into the neutral zone. It was not to be on this play, so they took the delay of game, because at this point on the field, Gil, it doesn't matter. It's just going to back the ball up 5 yards. Instead of being at the 39, it's now at the 44.
Downstairs to Raven Tirado. Good evening, Raven. How are you?
I'm great, thanks guys. I'm going to be giving you your score updates throughout the game. Let's start off with our web feature game of the week, where the Buford Wolves are hosting the Red Elephants of Gainesville, and they barely hold on at 7-6 in the second quarter. We'll go on down to Newnham, where they're hosting the Sandy Creek Patriots, and the Patriots are winning 17-7. You can get all your scoring updates just like we do on your gpb.org app. You can just scroll right through here, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Raven. Hopper's punt takes an Etowah bounce, and it's about 28-yard punt. Back downstairs to Raven. Raven, show us that iPad now. They can get our scores on that great GPB Sports app, huh?
Of course, yes. If you see right here, we've got a nice gpb.org app. You can get all your scoring updates just like us, and you can scroll through right here. Oh, I'll go this way instead. Thank you, John Nelson. And you can check out all the scores of Friday night's game and Thursday night game, any of them that you want. Back to you guys.
And it is free.
Gil, in the good old days, us high school football fans used to have to call the local newspapers to find out what the scores are.
1st and 10 at the 16. And Rosenberg's pass is incomplete. The intended receiver was Christian Robinson. Or correct me, it was Lopez. Lopez over the middle. And it falls incomplete. That'll bring up a 2nd and 10 at the 16. And as our astute producer Steve Graham pointed out, the ball was right in Lopez's breadbasket. Couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, Lopez playing the Y position similar to a tight end. He runs a drag route across the formation, and that's not what you need as for Centennial. You're down a couple of touchdowns. It's not the end of the world. You almost have a whole quarter here before halftime, but you've got to execute. And it's a difference when you might not know exactly where to be on the field, but when you run the play the right way and you just make an error like that, it just kills you.
Rex Steiner on the tackle of Teal. That'll bring up a 3rd and 12 at the 16. No gain. 8:41 until halftime. Out of the spread is Rosenberg. Plenty of time looking for Robinson. Has him wide open at midfield. And he is brought down at the Etowah 30-yard line on a nifty play by Rosenberg to Robinson.
Gil, this is an absolute thing of beauty. This is exactly how you draw it up. Watch Rosenberg just slide just slightly to his left and deliver the best pass of the night by far. You can see why Duke and some of the Ivy League schools are very interested in Chase Rosenberg. That is a beautiful ball right there, and there was a little bit of pressure coming from his right side. He shifts just a little bit and delivers a great pass.
Rowell on the stop with help from Bonilla, gain of 55. The give, it's Teal spinning and moving, getting close to the red zone at the 20, but pushed back to the 23. The Centennial Knights got a little something going on, Trey McDaniel.
Gil, I can't compliment Chase Rosenberg enough. When you throw a pick six and you have another fumble, you can just go in the tank. He's responding very well on this possession and not getting hung up on some of the mistakes he's made early.
8 of 14, 125 yards. 2nd and 6 at the 26. And the pass is incomplete. The intended receiver over there, it looked like number 87, Christian Glenn, a sophomore. So that'll bring up a 3rd and 4. It's 7:54 and counting down. Like I said, just a reminder, coming up at halftime, Mark Harmon, Jen Hobby, and also Raven Tirado with all the scores, and John Nelson. Gives you a look at Georgia like none other. Rosenberg's pass over the middle, intended receiver there is looked like it was Robinson, and it falls incomplete.
What a great play by free safety Michael McCauley. He times out his pass breakup perfectly. Might have gotten there just a split second early, but this is the biggest play of the game. It was the biggest play of the game for Centennial on 3rd down. They really needed to convert, and it looks like they're going to try to go for it on 4th down, but a great pass breakup by the senior. Also a guy who's being considered with the Ivy League. Coach calls him quite a brainiac. Looks like a pretty good football player, too.
McCauley, you're speaking of Princeton, Harvard, and MIT also knocking at the door. We have illegal procedure motion on the line of scrimmage.
We called that a blood pressure play, Gil. It's 4th down, 4th and manageable, and you make a mistake on offense, which makes it 4th and not so manageable. You can ill afford to have things like that happen. If I'm Coach Carlberg, they're calling offsides on the defense, so forgive me for that. I did not see a white shirt jump into the neutral zone.
All right, take a look, Trey.
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Looked like Alex Yankee might have jumped offside a little bit first and drawn Miles Revels offside, but they award that one to Centennial. Big break and a 1st down.
1st and 10 at the 18 as Teal turning the corner. With space, gets down to about the 10. Gain of 7 possibly, which will bring up about a 2nd and 3.
Gil, if I'm Coach Carlberg, I just keep going back to that well. Right here, you can sniff the goal line. It's surreal Teal time.
I love that, surreal Teal.
It's surreal Teal time. Watch him just use his speed, good vision, and I like the way that the little guy lowers his shoulders to pick up a couple of extra yards.
I want to say special thanks to the great people at Johnny's Pizza for feeding our crew here tonight. Johnny's Pizza, Metro Atlanta institution. Flag on the play. You see the sidelines of Centennial, Coach Carlberg. And we got a holding call, Trey. Just shooting yourselves in the foot.
2 steps forward, 2 steps back for the Centennial Knights right now.
That'll make it 1st and 16 at the 25. Rosenberg looking in the end zone for his receiver Robinson. He needs a jump ball, and defending on the play over there was Ben Rao, and it's incomplete. They'll try again.
Gil, again, Rosenberg looks very comfortable in the pocket. He's got chaos all around him. 2 white jerseys, one coming from each side, both defensive ends collapsing the pocket. He steps up, knows he's going to take a hit, throws a very accurate pass. Christian Robinson actually had position on Ben Rao. We talked about Rao at the top of the broadcast. He led the region with 6 interceptions last year. He also had good position, but Christian Robinson could have come down with that ball.
That's Rosenberg trying to make something out of something. And over there making a stop was Maverick Recksteiner. And who else was over there, Trey?
Looked like the other defensive end, Miles Revels, was also in the neighborhood as well. So let's take you back just a couple of plays. You're inside the 10-yard line after a Surreal Teal run. You get a holding penalty, and now you get a sack. And look where you're at on the field at the 30-yard line.
Continue, get pushed back. 3rd and 21 at the 30, 6:50, and counting down as we work our way to the 6-minute mark. Rosenberg looking in the end zone on a post route. He had Robinson, and it's too long.
Rosenberg has Christian Robinson all by himself in the end zone. And he seemed to make a couple of accurate passes on this possession with guys in his face. Here, he's got no pressure whatsoever, just gets a little jumpy and overthrows Christian Robinson. Would have been an easy touchdown if he could have pulled it in. You see no other white jerseys or blue helmets anywhere in the area.
Rosenberg, 8 of 18, 125 yards, a pick, and of course a fumble. The pick led to a score, and the fumble led to a score. 4th and 21 at the 30. 6:44 to go until halftime. Rosenberg looking for a receiver and had one over the middle. The intended receiver over there was number 81, Terrell Durton, and that's incomplete.
Watch Christian Glenn cutting across here in the middle of the field. You got to give Rosenberg credit. He makes a great throw, a fantastic throw, out away from the body, away from the defender, where the free safety, Michael McCauley, can't get anywhere near this. Christian Glenn's got it for the taking, and he takes his eyes off of it and drops it.
Christian Glenn, who plays that Y position in that spread offense, and it's incomplete. And of course, big things are expected out of Glenn, a sophomore. 1st and 10 as Etowah takes over on downs. 1st and 10 at their own 30. And the pitch is to Engel, turning a corner. Gets over to 30, close to the 35. And we have a face mask penalty, and it looks like it's going to be called against the Knights, so they're going to tack on some more.
They will tack on some yards, and it's a shame, Gil, because as far as assignment football is concerned, that's the best job tonight that the Knights defense have done, hemming in Brandon Eagle, because they played assignment football. They didn't try to get carried away. Their linebackers didn't get sucked inside, and they were there to tackle him for a minimal loss. Let's take a look at the face mask penalty. Very obvious here.
There you see it.
Almost ripping his helmet off. And that was Stephen Albert. Just trying to be aggressive there. I don't think he had any ill intent, but either way, it's a big-time penalty that helps Etowah, and Centennial can ill afford to help Etowah any more than they already have so far tonight, trailing by 2 scores.
Trying to make something happen for a team that's in the hole 14-0 and trying to climb out.
Here you see the penalty situation right now. 7 for 60 yards for Etowah, 5 for 50 yards for Centennial. More of the same for us, Gil. We've seen this game in and game out so far to start the season.
1st and 10 at the 49. They give us Dangle big hole. Finds his way, slicing his way, going downhill. And is about brought down at the 36 of Centennial in Knight territory.
Gil, defensive end, senior Lorenzo McWilliams has to make the tackle 15 yards downfield. You don't want your defensive end 15 yards downfield having to make the tackle. Ingles getting through the first wave of defenders, the defensive line, what I'm referring to, very easily so far tonight, and the defensive backs are having to come up in run support, and the defensive line's having to hustle back and make tackles. That's not what you want.
1st and 10 at the 36. Engel in motion, and he's going to get the feed from Johnson. Turns the corner, gets away from a couple tacklers, moves his way over to 30, down to about the 28.
Engel goes all the way to the 28-yard line.
That'll bring up. Let's go downstairs to John Nelson. Nelly.
Let's talk about number 56, Jake Hassan, a little bit. At the age of 2 months, Hassan was diagnosed with craniosynostosis. And basically, that's just a really long term where the joints in the skull prematurely fuse, and he was the first child in Georgia to have surgery to cure the condition. He was the first child to have surgery twice. Doctors have told him, really, you shouldn't be playing football, but he's out there right now. He said, this is my 12th grade year. I get headaches, according to doctors, but I seem to be playing at a pretty high level. It's a great story of courage out of Etowah.
Great story, John, a heartwarming story, and the young man is doing an outstanding job, and he's passionate, and he wants to play, and he's playing well for this offensive line right now as Devison takes the carry for the Eagles. Gain of about 2.
This is the kind of guy that you love to have on your football team as a high school football coach, a guy that's just going to go out there and put his own well-being at risk. Obviously not, dire, but, he's uncomfortable, and he's out there playing football and supporting the other 10 guys that are lining up with him, and he's creating some big holes tonight for Brandon Ingle.
A Trey McDaniel type of guy.
I don't know about that. He's probably a little more courageous than I am.
3rd and 4 at the 30. Johnson the give. And it looks like that's Devison with the big hole. He's close to a first down as he crawls to about the 20-yard line.
Gil, I like this stable of running backs that Etowah tosses out there with sophomore Devison. Of course, we've seen the junior Brandon Ingle and the touchdown by sophomore Stanley Logue. That's sophomore, junior. Future is bright here for Savela.
What does this remind you of? Huh? Didn't we see Lambert last year?
Yeah, that's a great
same
call.
Prescription, kind of running at you.
Yeah, we saw him defeat Chattahoochee last year with this same prescription, and they beat this Etowah team last week with that prescription.
No question. That's Johnson on the roll, looking for a receiver, has a man in the end zone, and that's a touchdown. Touchdown, Etowah. Looks like it's number 42, Bryce Corey. 21 yards.
Bryce Corey, 21-yard touchdown pass. Reeves Johnson.
Gil, last time we saw Reeves Johnson rolling out, he threw off of his back foot in an ill-advised pass. Watch this pass. Could not have been more perfect. Right on the money for the 6'2", 210-pound senior. Bryce Corey, 1 catch for 30 yards last week, also a touchdown.
Amen, brother.
21-yard touchdown pass.
The extra point by Hopper is good.
Is good by Harper.
And this thing is starting to get out of hand. The Eagles are flying high, and Cherokee County, the folks in Cherokee County going bananas right now. Johnson the Corey, and our score is 21-0 as we approach halftime. We'll be right back.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
You have to seize any advantage you can get to build a career, even while you're still in high school. That's why the Technical College System of Georgia offers dual enrollment. You earn college and high school credit at the same time, saving you money on college tuition. It's about your future. Dual enrollment jumpstarts your college education and prepares you for work in exciting career fields. Talk to your parents, school counselor, or a TCSG college about dual enrollment, or go to tcsg.edu.
When they protect Chase Rosenberg well and he has time to set his feet and Christian Robinson's running the right route, this offense is dangerous. They just haven't put any points on the board tonight.
First and goal for the Eagles at the Centennial 10. The alley-oop and looking for a receiver in the end zone. Catches it. Does he have it? There's a flag on the play. Did he have possession as he went out of bounds? The intended receiver over there was John Oliver, and it was a jump ball.
It's pass interference one way or the other. We just don't know who it's on. If it's on the defense, they'll decline it, and it'll be a touchdown if Oliver was in bounds. We're not really sure what's happening right here.
Let's take a look at the replay. From up here, it looked like he was in bounds, Trey.
It sure did.
Offensive interference is the call.
Okay.
So they're going to call Gill a push-off
on
offensive
Oliver.
Pass interference. So although he got, you saw that left foot right in the corner of the end zone, which is where you want the fade route to go, they're going to bring it back because of offensive interference. And you see Coach Savela does not agree with that call. I didn't see the push-off either. We'll take another look at it and see if we see, you see him right there get the right arm extended. So that's a great call, something that we didn't catch the first couple times we saw it. Good job by the officials there.
And you saw Corey Grimes over there, and of course battling him for possession. You see Oliver getting the reception for the touchdown, but it's negated because of the push-off on offensive PI. Etowah right now, 7 of 70 in penalties, 70 and 7 penalties, 70 yards. GPB is the only station to broadcast the state high school championship games year after year. Starting Friday, we'll bring you live high school football games every week. Now it's your turn to score big with a small donation to GPB. Text GPB to 85944 and donate $10. Remember to reply yes to confirm your donation. Standard data and text message rates apply. A one-time charge of $10 will be added to your phone bill. Support these games, support these great kids, coaches, and these outstanding student bodies and communities and the parents. We here at GPB say thank you.
Also want to mention Jones Bridge Animal Hospital. Dr. John Newman and Jones Bridge Animal Hospital support a healthy race season. Located at
Get a look at Coach Savela, and then that's the Brain Trust over on the Centennial side, led by Coach Jeff Carlberg. And Etowah up 21-0, under a minute to go, and trying to add on to some more.
And Gil, it's still goal to go, but it's second down and goal to go all the way back to the 25-yard line after that big 15-yard pass interference penalty.
All right, second and goal at the 25. That's Johnson. Straight drop back over the middle. The intended receiver down there. And the pass falls incomplete. Looked like Dalton Trogslin. Or correct me, that was Stanley Logue in the slot. And that's incomplete, so they'll try it again. Still third and goal at the 25.
And Gil Arnold Johnson, a guy whose name we've called a lot tonight, the senior corner for Centennial, once again in the right position. Impressed from what I see from this guy, not only in pass coverage, but he's come up in run support a couple times tonight and done a good job as well.
Third and 25 for the Etowah Eagles, who are leading right now, 21-0 over the Knights of Centennial. Gil Tyree, Trey McDaniel, John Nelson, glad to have you with us here tonight. Also Raven Tirado and our outstanding staff here at GPB. Happy to have you. Just a reminder, next week we'll be at Robinson, the venerable Robinson Stadium, the home of Bob Spire and the North Gwinnett Bulldogs. They'll take on one of the Maloof brothers and Norcross and the Blue Devils, and we get a first look at Alvin Kamara. Georgia Traveler. It's another great season of Georgia Traveler on a new time on Sunday, 7 o'clock on GPB. Watch David Zelski. You saw him on our pregame show. His crew as they uncover more of the hidden state of Georgia that may be across the state or around your corner. Georgia Traveler. This guy, Mr. Zelski, has a whole lot of fun. Now, new time, prime time, 7 o'clock, followed by Georgia Outdoors, only on the great GPB.
Gil, you ever rode on one of those Segways before?
No, I have not.
I'd break my neck.
Really?
I'm staying far away from those things.
You know, I saw a lot of those up in Charlotte on television. Did you see those? I mean, the guys were running around, you know.
Yeah, you see the police on the street here, the ATL riding around in those things. Doesn't look very threatening.
No, it doesn't. Etowah looking to add on to a 21-0 lead. That's Robinson on the roll. Throws back on the other side, and that's open field. And that's England. is at the 15, 10, 5. Touchdown! Touchdown, Anna Eagles. But it's going to come back because their flag's on the play, 25 yards.
Gil, a brilliantly designed play to allow the defensive lineman to come in and pressure the quarterback. He throws over top of them to Brandon Ingle, but there was a block in the back by sophomore center Nick Searcy right there, the 6'1", 245-pounder. It was blatant right in the middle of the field, and the officials didn't miss it.
They were right on.
Watch the center here, gets off his block, gets downfield to block for the runner, and I don't know if you can catch it right there, block in the back. Very obvious, very clear, and the flag came out immediately.
It's a 10-yard penalty.
Will erase a really nice throw, catch, run, touchdown, everything for Etowah.
That was Nick Searcy.
3rd and goal from the 30.
So it'll be 3rd and goal
from the 38.
38. Wow. 31 seconds to go until halftime.
Needless to say, there is not a play on the little laminated card that the offensive coordinator carries around for 3rd down and 38.
Halftime, they're going to get you caught up with everything that's going on, scores around Metro Atlanta and also the great state of Georgia here tonight. Some good ones going on. Johnson looking for a receiver and has him there. That's Engel over the 30 down to about the 27. 23 seconds to go, still running down at 20. 19. Still running down. Do they kick Trey McDaniel?
Well, that's what I'm staring at the sideline right here on 4th down, and I thought maybe they did the underneath route just simply to get into field goal range, but there's been no personnel changes so far on the field, and we've seen them in near this spot on the field earlier, and they've gone for it on 4th down. They're going to talk about it right now.
Coach Savela, I think, is going to send out the kicking team, and of course Ryan Hopper, and he can boot him.
He can boot him.
He can boot him, and he has the ability, and of course he's back from a suspension. And you see what's coming up at halftime, social media update with Grace Olson. Are you smarter? I love that segment. They always do it well, and Grace does that too. And the all-important marching bands. Chrissy Warlow bringing the marching bands in, and rent check. Everything on there at halftime coming up. I love.
That's right. I stay far away also from the Are You Smarter, because I'll just make a fool out of myself. I can already answer that question. Are you smarter? The answer is no.
And I mean, nobody does halftime better than Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch at GPB. Hopper on to attempt, and the ball will be spotted at the 38. And Kevin Barnes, our statistician tonight, counts it off, and this will be a 46-yarder. Out of the hold of Austin Frenzen. The kick is down. It's up. It looks good, and it is good. A 46-yard field goal as time expires at the half by Ryan Hopper. And that puts the Eagles up now. They increase their lead to 24-0 over Centennial. Trey.
Coach said he's the best kicker I've ever coached, and he's a difference maker, and he drilled that. It was a very low trajectory, but it had to be with the long field goal. He got all into that one, 46-yarders, and it was good by a lot.
Downstairs to John Nelson and Coach Dave Savela. Nelly?
Thank you, GT, here with the coach. I guess let's go from the other way. What didn't go right for you in the first half that you think you're going to have to work on?
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't like our penalties, and that's the second week in a row that I think we've been a little bit careless with penalties. I think there's still some plays to be had out there where we're missing a guy here and there. But, you know, overall, I'm pleased with our effort. I think our defense has done a good job of bending but not breaking. They've made some big plays, and so far, you know, it's a good start to the half, but we've got a lot of work to do here in the second half.
At the same time, you said last week in the first quarter you were a little shell-shocked. Didn't see any sign of that at all this week.
No, you know, I like the way we came out. We had a little bit more enthusiasm. We had a little bit more focus. I like the fact that our offense took the first drive down the field to score. That means a lot. That helps a lot with confidence. And again, coming from last week to this week, those are the kind of improvements you want to see.
All right, thanks for your time, Coach. Good luck in the second half. We'll catch up with you then.
Thanks.
All right, let's send over to the best seat in the house and Mark Harmon.
John, thanks very much. We're at halftime. Coming up, we've got the Centennial Marching Band. We'll talk to both principals. We've got some very special guests, including a very excited group of parents. So stay with us for GPB's Football Fridays halftime show right after this break. We are at halftime from the Fortress at Centennial High School in Roswell, Georgia. The Etowah Eagles leading at 24-0 over the Knights of Centennial. Stay with us.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
I remember as a kid eating cheese pizza from the local pizzeria, and that's what we were in New York, and that's what we tried to bring to Georgia. Ingredients are the most important thing about the restaurant.
Our dough is made fresh on premises every day.
fresh vegetables, whole milk mozzarella cheese, fresh packed tomatoes from California.
It's something you taste. It's something you're going to know when you eat it.
Johnny's Pizza. It's a neighborhood pizzeria.
On the next Georgia Outdoors, in our state and across the world, amphibians are disappearing.
It's been a very rapid loss over the last several decades, and it seems to be increasing.
This is a species that we have directly affected, and I think we owe it a debt.
Georgia biologists are battling to bring back just one of these frogs.
If we come back in a few years and there's gopher frogs all out in this pond, I'll have a big smile on my face.
It's a fight for frogs on the next Georgia Outdoors.
Sunday at 7:30.
Meet John. John has decided to drop out of school. But what he didn't realize is that now this door will be closed to him. And this one too. Well, you get the idea.
First started way off. And when it hit, it just like midnight. Middle of the day was just like midnight, with no stars, just dark. Scared us to death.
GPB, winner of 11 Emmy Awards, including Station Excellence. Thank
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
You have to seize any advantage you can get to build a career, even while you're still in high school. That's why the Technical College System of Georgia offers dual enrollment. You earn college and high school credit at the same time, saving you money on college tuition. It's about your future. Dual enrollment jumpstarts your college education and prepares you for work in exciting career fields. Talk to your parents, school counselor, or at TCSG College about dual enrollment, or go to tcsg.edu.
The German Consulate in Atlanta, encouraging you to study German and to learn more about our diverse culture with much to discover in 2012. More information about Germany as an environmental leader and other current topics on the web at germany.info/Atlanta.
We faced the unthinkable when the guns fell silent.
750,000 estimated dead.
The long journey to hallowed ground.
I have time to tell you, I died like a man.
Death and the Civil War on American Experience.
just the great history in this great state of Georgia from top to bottom. There's nothing like it across the U.S. of A. Gil Tyree, Trey McDaniel, glad to have you with us. GPB's live and exclusive coverage of Football Fridays. 24-0, the Eagles of Etowah leading the Knights of Centennial. And a lot of people in Cherokee County right now happy about this great Etowah program that seems to look alive under Coach Dave Savela coming over to replace Bill Stewart, who departed and left to go to Alabama to start a program there. And that is Engel getting over midfield into Centennial territory, about the 48.
Engel on the carry, stopped by Estes.
And Estes on the tackle for the Knights of Centennial.
Yeah, we haven't seen Alex Estes in the game so far tonight, so this is his first action, and he makes a nice tackle. And it hasn't been easy to bring down Brandon Engel so far tonight. 12 carries for 82 yards.
I mean, a tough 82 of real estate. I mean, he's earned every penny of it.
Hard-nosed kid, perfect. I said it before, perfect kid for this offense, absolutely perfect.
And just this prescription that Dave Savela has been given a heavy dose of the run, and of course we talked about his pedigree. Nebraska bred, coached in Minnesota, and came down here to Metro Atlanta. In Cherokee County, his wife took a job with State Farm, and he followed his wife, and like good husbands do, a honey-do list. Honey, I'm gonna follow you. He's done that 2nd and 7 at the 46. That's a give and turn in the corner. And moving and grooving. Getting down to about the 35 for a first down. A flag on the play. And that was Engel turning the corner. And among those on the play, the stoppage of play for Centennial was number 22, Alex Prescott. Austin Prescott, I should say. And another flag.
Yeah, they're going to catch Etowah for a hold. That'll bring it back 10 yards. It'll negate another great Engel run.
Wow, Gainesville upset Buford 19-15, and all those scores. And an update on everything going on in the great state of Georgia right now in the GPB app, sports scores, and a whole lot more. 19-15, Gainesville over Buford. Wow.
That was our web game tonight, so we've got the state covered with some of the best matchups. The last time we saw Buford last year, Gil, they were in a crazy one with Calhoun in the state championship.
And they keep on winning and winning and winning.
Yes, they do. I don't expect that to stop anytime soon.
Penalties, you see the numbers. Etowah, the Eagles, 10 for 100 yards, and Centennial, 7 for 70. 3rd and 11 at the 46.
You look up at the scoreboard and you see 24-0, and you think, well, Coach Dave Savela has got to be tickled pink.
Right.
Coaches always have something to talk about the next week to keep their kids on their toes. That century mark in penalties right there, Gil, that's going to be the sticking point this week in practice. Make no mistake about it.
Reeves Johnson with a 3rd and 11 facing him at the 46 out of the shotgun. And the pass is complete. That is John Oliver, the converted receiver from quarterback. He had played quarterback at a time, and he and Reeves Johnson were in a battle, and they moved him out to wide receiver. Dave Savela talked to us about that, and he's a playmaker, and you saw a play right there.
Watch him go up the ladder and get this. It looked like this pass was going over his head and might be picked off. What an athletic move. He doesn't pick up the first down on the 3rd and long, but a very athletic guy. You can see why he came in and played quarterback last year when Reeves Johnson went down.
6'3", 190 pounds, and made all use of that on that play. Make it 4th and 3 at the 42. The hard count, and the give is to Engel turning the corner. He's over the 45, push back, reverses his field, and he has clear sailing. First down yardage and more. On the outside, down to 35, tripped up, down to about the 32, but he reversed his field, no flags on the play, and he picks up a first down.
Gil, I want to take a look at this replay. On the backside, away from the movement, is defensive end Lloyd Glenn. He gets blocked and goes to his knees, and he thinks the play is over and done with. And he's slow getting up off of his block, and because of it, Engel's able to get the corner, reverse field, and pick up a huge first down.
12-yard gain, got hemmed in and made something of it. 1st and 10 at the 31, over 100 yards from Mr. Engel. 5:40 and counting down. Etowah with the football and moving and straight ahead and getting down over the 25, down inside to about the 23. That is, it looked like coming off of the pile right there. is Matt Bowling. And he's pulling his way.
Yeah, that's only his second touch of the game. But at this point in the game, when you're running the I formation and you're not passing the ball very much, having a fresh set of legs to bring into the game is a defense's worst nightmare.
Gain of 9, 2nd and 1 at the 23. We approach the 5-minute mark in the third quarter. The Eagles of Etowah moving. That's Johnson, the fake option on the keeper. Gets over the 15, down to around the 14. And Trey, again, chewing up real estate and chewing up clock.
That's the first designed run we've seen so far by Reeves Johnson tonight. We know he's a capable runner, but they haven't needed him to do that so far tonight. So on back-to-back plays, the defense is keying on Engel. What do? They give it to the fullback, Bowling, which could not be a better first or last name for a fullback, Bowling. And then Reeves Johnson carries it and gets him down to the 15-yard line. Right now, every button that Coach Cervela is pushing is perfect for the Etowah
and
Eagles.
Following that big offensive line of Fuentes and Searcy and Hassan and Clark and making the best of it, you get a look at Dave Cervela. 1st and 10 at the 14. And the give is Devison, and he stumbles his way inside the 10 at about down to the 9.
Gil, with each passing play on this possession, the defenders for Centennial are getting up off the turf slower and slower and slower. This drive's been going on for quite some time now. These young men are tired. They've been on the field for a long time tonight, and the 20-minute break for halftime doesn't always get them their energy back. Right now, they're sucking wind right now.
2nd and goal at the 10. Under the 4-minute mark. And what has been a very impressive drive, time-consuming drive for the Eagles of Etowah. Coming down and coming over from Cherokee County. The blitz and a loss. And it was like turn the dogs loose. And Ryan Bennett.
Bennett's the guy we talked about at the top of the broadcast who moved from outside linebacker to Mike linebacker this year. They've been threatening blitz all night but have rarely actually done it. This time they actually call a blitz, and it's at the perfect time. That could not have come at a better time for the Centennial defense, and now it's 3rd down and long. Let's see what Coach Cervela pulls out of his bag of tricks here for his offense.
A loss of 7. That'll make it 3rd and 12 at the 17. You see the interest at Ryan Bennett, Penn State. Coach O'Brien looking at him. Could be heading to Happy Valley and State College, Pennsylvania. That's Johnson on the keeper. Pushes his way and pushes the pile down to about inside the 10. Down to about the 8.
Gil, that's the play that got him the big first down earlier, and I was very curious to see, since he didn't make the first down, if they were going to go for it on 4th down. They've done that a lot tonight, but it looks like they're going to be satisfied with a 24-point lead to try to extend that lead by 3 and not by 7.
They'll bring in Mr. Automatic, Ryan Hopper, who hit a 46-yarder. This will be a chip shot of 26 yards. The snap, the kick is up. It looks good. And it is good. So the Eagles of Etowah add on to their lead. It's now 27-0 lead. 2:18 left to go in the third. We'll be right back.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
You have to seize any advantage you can get to build a career, even while you're still in high school. That's why the Technical College System of Georgia offers dual enrollment. You earn college and high school credit at the same time, saving you money on college tuition. It's about your future. Dual enrollment jumpstarts your college education and prepares you for work in exciting career fields. Talk to your parents, school counselor, or at TCSG College about dual enrollment, or go to tcsg.edu.
When it hit, it was just like midnight. Middle of the day was just like midnight, with no stars, just dark. Scared us to death.
Guy's got a great shot here. Let's listen to this one.
That's what those parabolic mics will pick up.
I'm glad I'm up here with you, Gil. That's all I got to say. And there's nothing that Michael Lopez could do to defend himself. Very dangerous position when you're going across the middle of the field like that.
2nd and 25 at the 25. And Rosenberg's pass intended up at the 40-yard line. In the neighborhood was number 87, Christian Glenn. And it falls incomplete and a man down for the Etowah Eagles.
And look at them on the sideline talking to Michael Lopez, just trying to make sure he's all right. We talked about some of the different heat protocol that's gone into effect during halftime. Also this hit injury protocol. They want to make sure that he passes all of the neurological tests that they run him through on the sideline to make sure he's okay to go back out, because sometimes a concussion, Gil, doesn't always present itself in an obvious fashion. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper. We didn't used to do that several years ago, and now we're doing that, and that is the right thing to do.
And last week, of course, we had the hits in the McEachern game against Walton.
And Kel Parham got ejected for it, and I found out later that night, we missed it. There was actually 2 ejections for McEachern that night, which is why they backed him up 30 yards after all that, not to go back and relive it, but they actually ejected 2 players for McEachern that night, one for a hit and one for a personal foul. Kel Parham, obviously the notable guy that got tossed out for leading with his helmet. Yeah, 2 guys on the same team colliding in midair. Neither one can defend themselves at that place, and that's the guy with the broken hand, Gil. He could ill afford. Aiden Bonilla, he's playing with a cast on his hand. Didn't get to play last week in the loss to Lambert. This is his first game back. He's probably, all things being frank, he's probably their best player on defense.
Aiden Bonilla and McCauley.
McCauley's been all over the place as well.
That's right. And, of course, McCauley, you see Bonilla, he'll be back. McCauley drawing interest from, we said Princeton, Harvard.
Yep. And
MIT.
Vanderbilt is looking at Bonilla. And keep in mind, Bonilla, if he did not have a cast on his hand, would be playing both ways. He's a split end as well.
Rosenberg again working from the shotgun and heaving it long. And in the vicinity, and the intended receiver out there was Robinson, and it falls incomplete. Defending on the play was Sean McConnell for Etowah.
They have no choice, Gil.
They'll bring up a punting situation for the Knights.
4th and 19. There's no time right now to get crazy. Just take your lumps and punt the ball.
Rosenberg right now, 10 of 29. 168 yards and 1 pick. Rao back to receive. At his own, at the Centennial 45, which means we're going to possibly have a short field, but a timeout called by Etowah.
A peculiar timeout called by Etowah. Up 27-0. It's an obvious punting situation.
Let's take a look at the Centennial schedule as they move forward. Lost last week, of course, to Roswell, and struggling here tonight against Etowah.
Yeah, that game against Johns Creek starts their region schedule, and that's really when they have to have things ironed out. They've got a lot of work to do, Gil. They really do. But the playoff positions in their region are up for grabs. I think Chattahoochee and Alpharetta are 2 of the best teams, and again, they come at the end of the schedule. Right. It gives Centennial a chance to iron some things out, but none of these games are gimmies right now the way that Centennial is playing.
Of course, Carlberg was at Alpharetta, and they have a great quarterback who's headed to Arizona State and Dobbs, and then you take a look at what our good friend Terry Crowder is doing at Chattahoochee. So they got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and let's reiterate that Coach Carlberg doesn't come here and have expectations from the players and the community and the assistant coaches that they be a 10-win team this year. That's not the expectation. The expectation from this program is progress. We want to see that we're taking baby steps and we're improving from game to game to game. And in the offseason, we're working in the weight room and the community's continuing to buy in, and the program is going in an upward trajectory.
Riles still on his feet after the punt by Schraft, and yellow everywhere. And They're going to talk about this. Let's go downstairs to John Nelson. Nelly, it's all yours.
Quick injury update on Lopez. They're focused more on his ribs when he took the impact to the right-hand side. They now have an ice bag on his ribs underneath his jersey, and at the same time they also have, as you see, they have the ice bag on his neck just to cool him down, and they're focused more on the shot to the ribs he took. And when you guys were talking about head protocol, they think that was just more from the shock of getting that impact to the ribs that jerked his head back more than anything else. So it's more ribs than head.
John Nelson, thank you. And of course, Michael Lopez's mom was on at halftime with Mark Harmon, answering questions about her son. And right now, he's getting attended to on the sidelines, and his team down 27-0 to Etowah. And we had flags on the play against the Etowah Eagles, and they're marching it off and marching it back. Under a minute 30 to go until the end of the third quarter. Just a reminder, like I said, next week we will be in Sewanee at Robinson Stadium. Bob Spires, North Gwinnett Bulldogs will host the Blue Devils of Norcross. Our coverage starts at 7:30 with the All Access Show. Mark Harmon, Jen Hobby, and company. Penalty on the punt, marked it back, so we'll start again. 1st and 10 at their own 33. For the Eagles of Etowah, leading 27-0. And that's Desinen. And he moves forward close to the 40-yard line at about at the 37. The clock continues to tick down. Trey McDaniel.
It may not be exciting for the next 13 minutes of this football game, but this is exactly what Etowah's going to do. They're going to try to salt away the remaining minutes of this football game by running the football and moving the chains. They will go to the air, and Gil, we may see, if they get into third down situation, we may see Reeves Johnson carry the ball a lot more than he did in the first 2 quarters, similar to how he did at the end of the previous drive.
A gain of 4. 2nd and 6 at the 37.
Ready.
Top of your screen, 47 seconds to go until the end of the third quarter. That, again, is the man who scored the first touchdown of the night, Stanley Logue. He gets it over the 45, up to about the 46, gain of a 12, and that'll be a first down. And that'll stop the clock at 38 seconds to go.
Heavy formation, Gil, 2 tight ends, 1 wide receiver, 3 backs in the backfield. They do that misdirection play, trap back to the other side of the field for Stanley Logue. It's worked well tonight. They got a touchdown out of it. And every one of their guys is getting extra yardage after contact. That has got to make Coach Sevilla a happy man.
More cramps taking its toll. And again, fluids. You want to get in these kids because they've been dropping like flies. And that is Corey Grimes, being helped off by the Centennial Sports Medicine staff here.
Grimes has been a busy guy tonight, Gil, because with the success that they've had on the ground for Etowah, Grimes has had to come up in run support so often tonight. And Coach says he's really out of position at free safety. He's a natural corner, but he's playing free safety just because they need somebody that can play center field and run and tackle the ball carrier. And so he's a little bit out of position, and right now he's got a leg cramp, so it may be a couple plays before we see him back in the game.
And they'll work on him and get him hopefully back in this football game because they need him. Clock continues to tick down. You see it the 35-second mark. You look at Reeves Johnson barking signals into the huddle and brings his Etowah Eagles up with a 27-0 lead. 1st and 10 at the 48. Lone back in the backfield is Desinen. See the man in motion. And the give is to Desinen over midfield. And just crosses midfield, gets into night territory, but is pushed back. And that may be the final play here in the third quarter.
Gil, the guy whose
Caleb
name
Howard.
we have not called yet tonight, nose tackle Caleb Howard. Listen to some of these stats. 5'5", fire hydrant guy, charging up in the middle and making a big tackle.
The pictures here from the Fortress. Hold up 4 fingers, folks. We're headed to the 4th. Etowah up 27-0. We'll be right back.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
The wheels of progress haven't been very active lately. But because of business people like you, things are beginning to get rolling. And Regions is here to help, making it easier with the expertise and service to keep those wheels turning. From business loans to cash management, we want to be your partner moving forward. Let's get going together.
You have to seize any advantage you can get to build a career, even while you're still in high school. That's why the Technical College System of Georgia offers dual enrollment. You earn college and high school credit at the same time, saving you money on college tuition. It's about your future. Dual enrollment jumpstarts your college education and prepares you for work in exciting career fields. Talk to your parents, school counselor, or at TCSG College about dual enrollment, or go to tcsg.edu.
The German Consulate in Atlanta, encouraging you to study German and to learn more about our diverse culture with much to discover in 2012. More information about Germany as an environmental leader and other current topics on the web at germany.info/Atlanta.
This week on Georgia Traveler, it's Oktoberfest in the Alpine Bavarian village of Helen, where we also visit the miniature Charlemagne's Kingdom, plus a stop to check out Zoo Atlanta, then on to Augusta for the annual Ironman competition, and a visit to Tybee Island to a marshland eatery, the Crab Shack. All that and more on the next Georgia Traveler.
Sunday at 7 on GPB.
On the next Georgia Outdoors, in our state and across the world, amphibians are disappearing.
It's been a very rapid loss over the last several decades, and it seems to be increasing.
This is a species that we have directly affected, and I think we owe it a debt.
Georgia biologists are battling to bring back just one of these frogs.
If we come back in a few years and there's gopher frogs all out in this pond, I'll have a big smile on my face.
It's a fight for frogs on the next Georgia Outdoors.
Sunday at 7:30.
When it hit, it was just like midnight. Middle of the day was just like midnight, with no stars, just dark. Scared us to death.
Back here at the Fortress, start of the fourth, the kids from Cherokee County with the big lead, 27-0. The Etowah Eagles, as you see right there, Reeves, Johnson and company, the prescription dial run.
That is the story of the game right there, ladies and gentlemen. 286 yards rushing by Etowah. Centennial, not a big rushing team, so you can throw their numbers out, but 286 yards rushing for Etowah. Near 300. I expect them to get that 300 mark. They've got a whole quarter to go. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. What were our keys to success at the top of the broadcast, Gil? Do what you do if you're Etowah. Be physical, run the football, take on the personality of your head coach. You can put a check mark in that box. What was the other one? Be sharp out of the gate. They slept walk through the first half of last week's game. They came out and they started fast. Check mark in that category as well.
You go, Trey McDaniel. You go. You go, and they got a three-headed monster, too, running the football, running that field tonight. Talk some about the individual numbers that have been put on the screen.
Yeah, Engel went over the century mark on his last carry, 14 for 101. You got Devizin, 11 carries for 39 yards. Logue, 4 carries for 27 yards. Also, Matt Bowling's thrown in a couple carries as well. He's done well, and the quarterback, Reeves Johnson's had a couple nice carries as well on their previous possession.
Reeves Johnson facing a 3rd and 8 at midfield. And they're pitching a shutout here tonight for Coach Dave Savella. And you got to believe Bill Stewart is watching this somewhere in the great state of Alabama. And rooting his team. We have whistles and a stoppage in play.
We've said that a lot, or I should say, Gil, you've said that a lot tonight. Stoppage in play. A lot of penalties.
Big day of college football around the great state of Georgia tomorrow. And, of course, Georgia Tech hosting Presbyterian. Their home opener. They get it done on a short week. Tough loss in Blacksburg against Virginia Tech.
Good news. We got half-price hot dogs and half-price hamburgers right now. At the concession stand. That's half price on hot dogs.
Centennial had Etowah right where they wanted him in 3rd and long, but because of the penalty, now it's 3rd down and 4. And here's the penalty story of the game. 11 penalties for 115 for Etowah and 9 for 85 for Centennial.
Logue in motion. And the give is to Engel, turning the corner. He's first down yardage and more. Barrels over a Centennial tackler. And it's good enough for a first down. We talk about college football tomorrow. We talked about Georgia Tech. And, of course, historic day for the University of Georgia in Missouri. First SEC game for the Missouri Tigers. And, of course, Georgia State travels up to Knoxville to face the Tennessee Vols. So lots of college football. Who do you like tomorrow, Trey? Huh?
It's going to be a tough game, I think, between Georgia and Missouri. I really do. I don't think it's a gimme at all. I think Aaron Murray needs to cut down on the turnovers, and if they can do that, Georgia's got a really good chance. And I was really sad to hear that Coach Curry was stepping down this year. One of my favorite coaches. If you want to get pumped up and inspired, you listen to that guy talk.
An inspirational gentleman. Got a chance to get to know Coach Curry when he was at the University of Alabama. Turning the corner right there is Engel, over the 35 down to about the 32. Just a reminder, next week we will be in Sewanee. Our coverage starts at 7:30 with the All Access Show. Mark Harmon, Jen Hobby, and a cast of hundreds and thousands via the internet at gpb.org, and you can friend us. Go to our Facebook page at GPB Sports. And John Sherrick and company, and always do a great job. Lauren Anderson getting those pictures on, and Grace Olson.
Coach Svail, a lot to be happy about tonight, with the exception of the penalties, and there's 109 yards for the young man. It's certainly no 333 yards from, Tyron Jones that we've seen, but they have done a remarkable job on the ground. And here's the unsung hero of the night, Mr. Bowling.
Mr. Bowling bowling his way to another first down and taking a few Knights with him.
You got one message right here if you're Coach Savela. Do not drop the ball and do not go out of bounds. So they run right up the middle with the fullback with the very befitting name Bowling.
And you secure it, and that is the offensive line right now, Trey, just blowing them out.
That's a great
at the
point,
point
Gil.
of attack.
We haven't thrown a lot of bouquets the way of the offensive line, but they've done a great job tonight. Jack Singer, Carlos Fuentes, Nick Searcy, Jacob Hassan, which we spotlighted earlier, Brian Clark, and even the tight end, Bryce Corey, who caught a touchdown tonight. He's also doing a good job.
John Nelson talked about Hassan's story. First and goal at the 14. And that is Reeves Johnson on a keeper, goes around right guard and moves it down to about close to the 10. They'll spot it probably at the 11.
Points here don't matter, Gil. Clock moving is the only thing that matters. Because it's in this time at the end of the game when the game is out of hand, where you would hate to have any kind of injuries or anything like that would affect your team for the weeks to come. So you just want to play it straight up, be as conservative as possible, and get these last 9 minutes off the clock. I know that's not what a Centennial fan wants to hear, but that's exactly what needs to happen.
Second and goal at the 11. The Eagles of Etowah, hailing from Cherokee County, Region 5 6A. And that is a give turn in the corner. That's Logue, and he has eyes for the end zone, but a great tackle by Stephen Albert upends him.
Stephen Albert, 31.
And that may have been a loss.
I believe it was, Gil. Great tackle, as you mentioned, by Stephen Albert. Rarely have any of the backs from Etowah been hit and gone down on first contact. Nothing you can do right there when you go for the knees. Great tackle, textbook there by Albert, coming up in run support from his outside corner position.
3rd and 8 at the 11. Austin Frenzen enters the football game. 8-12 and counting down here. And glad to have you with us on GPB's live and exclusive coverage of Football Fridays here in the great state of Georgia. Johnson, and straight ahead on a give and scoring for a touchdown. Eyes for the end zone is Devison. And he's in. He's in for the touchdown. No flags. Hopper will come on for the extra point. That makes it 33-0, pending the extra point to make it 34. The replay brought to you by the technical systems of the great state of Georgia. Touchdown replay. Trey McDaniel, what did you see?
Nothing fancy there, Gil. You come out in a strong right formation with the tight end lined up on the right side. You run between the tight end and the tackle. They did absolutely nothing fancy there. The linebackers got caught out of position and could not bring the runner down, and we got another touchdown for Etowah, and that'll put them up by more than 30 points. The rule in Georgia, if there's more than a 30-point deficit at any point in the fourth quarter, it will be a running clock from here on out.
Hopper will try again. Centennial offsides. That'll move it closer. And Hopper, who's had a field goal, a couple field goals here tonight, and lots of PATs, and he'll try another one. This one up, high snap. The kick is up, and it is good. So with the score, 35-0. They're pitching a shutout, those Eagles of Etowah. Rashad Devison. Eyes for the end zone, number 5 getting in. We'll be right back.
Broadcast of this program is made possible in part by the following.
I remember as a kid eating cheese pizza from the local pizzeria, and that's what we were in New York, and that's what we tried to bring to Georgia. Ingredients are the most important thing about the restaurant.
Our dough is made fresh on premises every day.
Fresh vegetables, whole milk mozzarella cheese, fresh packed tomatoes from California.
It's something you taste. It's something you're going to know when you eat it.
Johnny's Pizza. It's a neighborhood pizzeria.
Nothing. Etowah out in front of Centennial, and Trey, it may not be a running clock. There's some dispute here. You see Rashad Devison, who scored on the touchdown to make it 34-0, and we'll give you the scoring drive after the kick. Hopper, and taking it a yard out of his end zone and trying to come out with it. And that'll be a touchback.
Yep. By rule at high school, if your foot is in the end zone or any part of your body's in the end zone, it is an automatic touchback.
And Surreal Teal tried to bring it out, but he will not be able to. 9 plays, 67 yards. Technical College System of Georgia bringing you the scoring drive. Rashad Devison, 5 minutes and 32 seconds the elapsed time. You see Mr. Devison's number. We can call him Mr. Devison. Double digits in carries and yards and the touchdown. And I'm sure his family, Cherokee County, very happy about that. And right in front of him is Coach Dave Cervela. And Trey McDaniel explained it now.
Well, we got some clarity by the officials. In order for there to be a running clock, it has to be a 30-point deficit going into to begin the fourth quarter. If the 30-point or more deficit was achieved within the fourth quarter, you play normal rules. So that's my mistake.
And you know what?
I have my pay doc for that.
We're not going to, because you bring it every Friday. Passes underneath to Glenn from Rosenberg, and Glenn gets out of bounds, and you got to be impressed by him. He gets close to midfield.
And a late hit.
So they'll tackle on a few more.
And he's injured.
He is kneeling over right now.
Man, you hate to see that. Like I mentioned earlier, here in, we'll just say it, in garbage time, you hate to see somebody get hurt.
Keith Gordon was over in the neighborhood and drives him right into the ground.
Man, and that was
that's Gordon.
It was a little unnecessary. He's the guy that had the big hit in the middle of the field a little bit earlier.
And they're still working on him on the Etowah sidelines. And again, that's Christian Glenn, who's been very outstanding here tonight, a sophomore.
And Gil, I'd like to make a point. A lot of these playmakers, or weapons as you call them in the spread offense here for Centennial, are underclassmen, juniors and seniors. These kids get to spend another year or two in this offense. We heard Coach Carlberg say that he wished he had Chase Rosenberg for another year. The good news is he does get to keep a lot of these key players on the field next year and for years to come, and that's really going to help as he's trying to build this program.
Luke Abel now in the game, replacing Chase Rosenberg at quarterback. So it's Luke Abel at QB as they still continue to attend to Christopher Glenn over on the Etowah sidelines, and Etowah out in front 34-0 over Centennial.
And Gil, this bringing Abel in is not a performance thing based on Chase Rosenberg and how he's played in this game. It's simply, you're not going to win this football game with 7 minutes to go, and you need your backup quarterback to get some reps in real game time. And if you're the coaching staff, you want to get as many players that could potentially play this season later on in the year or next season on tape in a game situation.
A good sign. Christian Glenn coming off the field right in front of him as Coach Carlberg as he went over to attend it to him. And you see the sports medicine staff here at Centennial. And it's good to see him walking off on his own power, but he is feeling it. Looks like he's holding the shoulder area. And You know something? We got a GPB sports football app where you can just get everything. There's an app. It has up-to-minute scores, full season schedules, sports news, rankings, and so much more. The app is a perfect way to keep up with it. All your favorite Georgia high school football teams for the entire season. Download the GPB Sports Football app for your iPhone or iPad today. And, of course, you saw John Nelson and Raven Tirado showing you the sports app, and it is free. You got a sports app, huh?
I don't have any apps. When they say there's an app for
Are you a
that,
tech guy?
it requires a smartphone, which
Not a
I don't
Georgia
have.
tech guy,
So
but I mean,
technically, there's not an app for that.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll be moving into smartphone land at some point in the year 2013.
I'll tell you
That's
what.
the goal.
Well, they teach a course up in new media at GPB. Go
I
up
may
there,
need to sit in on that.
Learn it, and they do a great job. These penalties are just out of control right now. 7:03 to go. Gil Tyree, Trey McDaniel, John Nelson, glad to have you with us here on GPB. And like I said, next week we will be in Sewanee for the Bulldogs of North Gwinnett against the Blue Devils of Norcross.
Looking forward to that one, Gil. Really am.
What gives?
I just love watching Bob Spire-led teams, and every year I like seeing the talent that comes through the Norcross program. It's a rivalry game. Those two teams are separated by only a few miles up there in the kind of where Norcross and Sewanee come together. I just love that game each and every year. It's kind of a little cat and mouse game, and two of my favorite coaches just to sit and chat with. Coach Maloof and Coach Spire, I mean, they've forgotten more about football than I'll ever know. They're just a wealth of knowledge, and I just like the way that they interact with their team.
Abel gives the football, and that looks like Arnold Johnson, or correct me, that's Patrick Inwood. Patrick Inwood, they're very high on him.
And another sophomore, Gil. And he had five.
Yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me, Gil. He had 5 carries for 16 yards last week and scored the only touchdown that Centennial had.
Abel, straight back, drop back, throws over the middle. The pass is complete down to about the 1. And that is to number 88, Stuart Way, the junior tight end. That'll be first and goal at the 1.
Nice play by the backup quarterback. We've seen some inaccurate passing, and we've seen some drops. You saw neither right there, and they get first and goal, trying to make the shutout go away.
Out of the shotgun, and the give is to Patrick Inwood. And he's about down at the 1, maybe the nudges in. No gain, so they'll try it again. 6:16 and counting. Abel out of the shotgun. Inwood, the lone back. High snap. The give again is to Inwood, and he is snuffed out. And Preston White over there to make the tackle.
Boy, you think Preston White knew who was getting the ball on that play? He almost took the handoff in the backfield. Inwood didn't stand a chance.
Okay, Trey McDaniel, who gets on the GPB Sports Blog tonight, huh? For next week.
33 for the Knights.
It's got to be Brandon Engel.
Okay, Brandon Engel. Rex Steiner is automatic.
Yeah. And there's a fumble on the play. Again, sniffed it out perfectly for the Etowah defense. And, you know, at this point in the game, Gil, with 5 minutes and 30 seconds and a game that's already in hand by Etowah, you're still playing for the shutout. As a defense, there's no better feather in your cap than to shut a team out. That's why they're playing so hard right now. Abel tries to throw the ball, empty hand rule coming forward. And, again, that guy's
Chris Conway.
on it. Yeah, exactly. And Preston White's right there as well.
Thank goodness for Chris Conway. At eyes for the football. 4th and goal at the 7. Up top on the fade route. And the pass is incomplete. Defending on the play was Rao. The intended receiver is Robinson. So they'll turn it over on downs. Let's go down to Raven Turcato. Raven, it is all yours.
Hey guys, thanks. We are winding down our Football Friday night here in Georgia, and we've had quite the games going on, but I'll start by giving you some final scores. Camden County defeats Johnson-Savannah 55-0. Then Thomas County Central over Marist 21-17. And the upset so far of the night is Gainesville defeating Buford at Buford 19-15. Now, some guys that are still playing football is Valdosta and Brooks County. Valdosta has made quite the comeback in the fourth quarter, and they are beating Brooks County 24-21. Now, before I let you go back up to the booth, I have to show you this really cool app that I've been showing you all night, gpb.org. Thank you, Vanna White. You can scroll through these games, but the coolest part about this app, go back to the top here.
Well, it's downloading.
Oh, well, it's downloading, my bad, so it's processing. You can click on our live games, then you can click on the live, and you can watch it. Back to you guys.
Raven Tirado, thank you. I just want to tell you and John Nelson, you just got hired by QVC. What a great job, huh? They'll do GPB by night and QVC by day.
I could have watched him at 2:45 in the morning last week when I got home from Powder Springs.
34-0.
Gil,
and looks like Etowah's going to pitch a shutout.
It does look that way, Gil. And how many times can we say this? 13 penalties for 145 yards for Etowah, yet still dominating 34-0.
In the run game, has just been outstanding. Robbie Knox in at quarterback right now, replacing Johnson. And straight ahead is Matthew Bowling. And you got to believe right now, Coach Dave Cervela just wants to get out of here and get it clean and just run out the clock.
But boy, those penalties got to stick in his craw. Coaches always look for an opportunity to coach, and that is his coaching moment this week, is talking about the penalties, because he sees the potential of this team and the damage they could do in their region, but they won't be able to do it against more competitive teams with 145 yards worth of penalties.
All right, Trey McDaniel, tale of two teams as they move forward. For Etowah, fill in the blank. And for Centennial, fill in the blank.
I think right now they have two different goals. Winning games, Gil, is always the goal. But for Centennial, I mentioned it before, it's progress. You want to make progress each and every week. Whether or not you notch a win, that's another story. You're trying to build a program that's struggling a little bit right now, and it's struggling a little bit for two reasons. You have some personnel, but mainly you're implementing a very intricate offense, which we've harped on a lot tonight. So your goal moving through your region schedule, get better, get better, get better, get better. Etowah, they lost last week. They didn't know what they had. I talked about a team with a new head coach needing to see something on the field to legitimize what the coaches are preaching. Etowah's got that tonight. They're going to have a lot of confidence. The sky's the limit for Etowah. They've got a very tough region, though. When you got to play Lassiter and a very tough quarterback in Eddie Prinz, and then you got to play Tyron Jones in the last game of the season, you got your work cut out for you. But between now and then, the sky is the limit for them.
Impressive tackle by Garen Grace. That'll bring up 2nd and 14. And the Eagles continue to just milk this clock, 2:45 and counting down. Just a reminder on the post-game show, we'll take a look at this game here tonight. Look forward to next week as we journey on up to Sewanee for North Gwinnett and Norcross, and they'll run down what a great job Raven has done on the scores here tonight. Robbie Knox, like I said, in replacing Johnson, who's had an outstanding night here tonight, and a run game that really was a three-head monster and more. And they came in waves. If it wasn't Engel, it was Logue. If it wasn't Logue, it was Devison.
If it wasn't Devison, it was Bowling, and if it wasn't Bowling, it was Johnson.
And in this case, it's right now taking the football and moving forward right now is Knox, and it gets over the 40, up to about the 41, and that'll be a first down.
Yep.
And the clock continues to run.
And because of the first down, they should be able, barring any timeouts taken by Centennial, run out the rest of the clock without there being any more stoppages.
And I know that Dave Cervela and his mother and dad watching out in Nebraska, they were going to log on if they could find it. And we told them on the conference call, it's www.gpb.org and /football, and you're able to watch the games and all that. So they're watching tonight. They watched Trey McDaniel tonight, huh?
Well, they didn't watch much of me, thank God, or they'd have turned their TV off.
34-0. It looks like that the Eagles from Cherokee County are going to pitch a shutout here tonight. Straight ahead and moving forward still like a pile drive. Number 13, and that's Joe Ellis.
Joe Ellis on the carry.
and taking people with him, and that continues to just push this football, the run game, and just another first down at the 44 of Centennial, gain of 15.
Gil, the Etowah Eagles have been doing this for years and years and years. We mentioned, yes, it's a new coach. Savela comes over, but they have always been a blue-collar, lunch-pail team, and they continue to be that. Their coach harps on offensive line. He's coached offensive line. He comes from a long lineage of offensive line gurus, and his offensive line tonight has performed beautifully.
And again, the carry is to Joe Ellis. He gets it over the 45 or the 44 down to about the 42. A flag down on the play. It'll be a stoppage.
Stuart Gray on the attack. We got a face mask on the ice.
You know, Coach Carlberg had talked about, he told our John Nelson earlier he's going to play the young people. And, you know, 2 games in right now, Trey, you're 0-2. What's the thought process for Coach Carlberg as he moves forward?
Well, the problem is he already had a lot of non-seniors playing on offense anyway. Most of the seniors he had were playing on defense, and unfortunately, by the looks of the first 2 games, that's the area that they need the most improvement on. So I think he was alluding to the defense, that some of these younger guys, and he may even go into his bag of tricks and play some of these young men both ways just to get his best athletes on the field. And we mentioned how long it takes to get a team and a community to buy in and to implement the new system. Well, what better way to put kids on the field that you're going to have the opportunity to coach for another year or 2? That's really important.
The penalty will make it 1st and 10 at the 30. The pitch, and getting swallowed up and reversing his field right now and looking for eyes for the end zone is Brandon Engel. And he will score for a touchdown, but wait a minute, we're going to bring it back. It's coming on back.
They already have 145 yards in penalties. This is another one on Etowah. It's enough to make a coach, you see him right there, Dave Savela, he is not happy about that. The game is in the bag, and it's not sure if he's upset with the officials right here or just simply upset that his team continues to commit penalty after penalty after penalty.
Next week we'll have a lot of talent on display. Donnie Miles, Alvin Kamara, who's down, I've been told, down to 2 schools in terms of making a decision relative to his commit. Alabama again, and the University of Georgia, and he is an outstanding talent.
Yes, he is.
He's an outstanding talent, and really for Coach Maloof has really emerged in that system. And of course Donnie Miles, who's headed up to North Carolina, and that 74-yard burst he had against Colquitt County, which was a game changer, and they went into Corky Kell that you saw right here on GPB. And we'll get to see those 2 next week.
Yeah, I'm excited, too, to see Michael Haynes play some more. I'd really like the Michael Tamburo aspect of his game. I really do. It's a lot different dynamic than Scotty Hush had last year for North Gwinnett, although I'm a big fan of Scotty Hush as well. But I just like that added dimension in Spire's offense where a quarterback can pull the ball down and run with it.
You know, we can't thank the great people at Johnny's Pizza and Atlanta Tradition for serving our crew here tonight. Great pizza, and we say thanks to the great people at Johnny's Pizza.
Gil, the Etowah offense has obviously put 34 points on the board, but they've done it with a variety of people and in a variety of ways. Logue, touchdown rushing. Rex Steiner, pick 6. Bryce Corey, touchdown catch from Reeves Johnson. 2 field goals by Hopper and his Devizin touchdown rush. That's spreading the wealth.
The kneel down. And that's going to run out the clock, Trey McDaniel. We're going to put a wrap on this one here tonight, and it's going to be wrapped in blue and white from Cherokee County. The Etowah Eagles are going to fly back with a great victory here tonight at Centennial.
The Eagles will move to 1-1 and even up their record on the season. Unfortunately for Carlberg, Centennial will move to 0-2. And they've got Milton coming up next on the 14th of September next week.
That's going to be a tough one.
That will be a tough game. Milton's
tough.
An underrated team. I believe you agree with that as well.
Under the radar, and they have a big game looming, a national game against Walton. That's going to be played in Raider Valley. And you got a shot of Reeves Johnson going off the field. Yes, Trey.
And I was just saying that Etowah has Pope next on their next matchup, and then each team after next week region play begins in earnest, and that's when things get fun.
Outstanding effort as always, my friend. Look forward to see you next week in Sewanee.
I'll be there.
Norcross takes on the North Gwinnett Bulldogs. But this is a wrap here in Roswell here tonight. 34-0. The Etowah Eagles and Coach Dave Savela pitch a shutout over the Knights of Centennial. Downstairs to John Nelson and the aforementioned Dave Savela. Nelly, it's all yours.
Thank you, GT. I guess congratulations for your first win in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I thought our kids played pretty well. You know, I liked their effort. I thought in the second half, again, things got a little bit sloppy. A lot of penalties on both teams today, but by and large, I felt like we stayed with our task at hand. I felt like we got after it in the second half and played pretty well.
And obviously balanced attack. You know, you had a bunch of guys create over 300 yards on the ground. You also got a pick six from Mav for a score, and you also got a TD reception too. Balanced effort across the board.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what we're going to have to do to be successful. You know, we've got a good offensive line, but we're going to have to be able to vary our offense a little bit in order to keep defenses off balance. And I was glad we could do that. And the defense did some really good things tonight. And you know, with that run by Maverick, you know, I was pretty sure. I told him, I said, I don't think you'll probably be able to go until the fourth quarter, man. So I was pretty proud of him for that, though.
All right, congratulations, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Let's send it back over to Mark Harmon, best seat in the house, to wrap things up.